When the explorers chose the name Oceano Pacifico for our ocean, it was their way of letting us know it was a peaceful ocean. Indeed, navigators tell us that the sea along the equatorial line is calm. Some go as far as saying that the sea is glassy, as in smooth as glass. But beneath that glassy surface that you're looking at right now is a maritime graveyard for casualties of the sea. Now this comes as a surprise to many people in light of Apara's reputation as a harbor of refuge. But the harbor hasn't always been as deep as it is right now, and now that we also have a barrier with the unusual name of glass breakwater, which helps keep the raging waves in check. These coral reef formations attest to the hazards that confront us not familiar with the harbor. A listing of some of the lost vessels provide us an interesting chronology. The Spanish galleons Santiago and Nuestra Señora de Concepción, a French whaling ship, 2 German ships, several Japanese ships, and the USS Penguin, widely known on Guam as a training ship for those entering the Navy. Additionally, the harbor is the final resting place of dozens of planes, mostly Japanese, which were shot down by American flyers in the famous air battle known as the Marianas Turkish Shoot during the fight for Guam. As we all know so well, the cost in human lives and resources for the recapture of Guam was very heavy, and as usual, the Orote Peninsula played a major role. In 1898, the battle for Guam, which was never fought, ended with the Spanish guns failed to return fire from the USS Charleston. The capture of Guam was merely an additional duty for Captain Glass and his ships, which he dismissed with haste and without casualties. His primary mission was to join Commodore Dewey at Manila. Names familiar to us were players in 1898 during the brief but historically significant event of the Spanish-American War. The Spanish delegation consisted of gentlemen named Gutierrez, Duarte, and Portosa. The American naval captain was Henry Glass, for whom Glass Breakwater was named. His officers included a junior grade lieutenant who was to return 14 years later as Captain Robert E. Coons and serve as governor of Guam. The Coons building in pre-war Ganya was named after him. It was the home of the original Bank of Guam. And that junction of Marine Drive and Route 6 in front of Adelup was named Coons Junction in his honor. 2 other names surfaced in discussions about Orote and Apara from a historical perspective. They are names of ships and not of sailors. 2 extraordinary events took place at Apara as a result of World War I and World War II. In 1914, the German ship Cormoran was in Apara Harbor for repairs when word was received that America had declared war on Germany. Rather than surrender, the crew scuttled the ship and were made prisoners of war, some of whom remained on Guam after World War I ended. 30 years later, during World War II, the Japanese freighter Tokai Maru was sunk by the Americans while trying to escape from Apara Harbor. Remnants of these 2 ships belonging to enemies of the United States at 2 different world wars at the time of their sinking now rest at the bottom of Apara with their bows touching one another. Finally, on names, there are some that we now accept as Chamorro names, Wistic and Scharf. These are names of the descendants of the crew of the Cormoran and other German sailors who were POWs on Guam in World War I. Join us next week for the next episode of Nihita Bisita.